Hello. Looks like my internet's low. Anybody's here? I have to go turn off my heat. I'm sorry. I'm like a little running behind today. So I'm going to go turn my heat off. It's way too hot. Woo! It's really not hot at all. It's set at 60. Well, it was set at 64, and I just switched it to 63. Hey, Jinx. Hey, I love marbles and polygraph. How are you guys tonight? I know I'm going over some other people. It's just literally it's unavoidable. Like with a lot of people go live at the same time, and I hate it because I want to be over at True Crime Web, you know. But at some point, you have to take time to like do your own stuff. So tonight, I thought we would go over Cairo Jordan. If you guys remember the boy in the suitcase, the Las Vegas suitcase, and then there has been some remains found. There's not a lot of information on it, but it does kind of make you wonder if it could possibly be Oaklee Snow. And I have linked Justice Served Daily in the description of this video. She's done some great coverage, and she helped with a vigil for Oaklee. And there's also Nakota Kelly. He is still missing. His father will not tell where his body is. So, hey, Digger. How are you? Hey, Sharon. Hybrid. Good to see you, Lake. Good to see you. Kimosabi. Hello. All right. I'm going to jump right into it. So it is... I've got an article for the pieces of forking crazy is what they are. Like, oh, it's so disturbing. Can you guys see and hear? I mean, there's nothing really to hear. Every time I play these, I get a copyright, so I'm definitely not going to be saying weird words like unalived and RA, and I'm just not going to do it. So if you can, send a super chat. They are helpful. I'm not going to do the whole word thing. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't say that. I can't say it. To me, it just feels like I'm dishonoring the victims of murder and rape and all of the other things. So I'm not going to be doing that. I do have a Cash App, but I forgot to get it. So I don't know even what it is. Okay, so here we go. This is Coleman here. So it was already done. New details in the Cairo Jordan's murder. Suspect pleads not guilty. According to a police affidavit, Dawn Coleman said in April she found Cairo's mother in a bedroom on top of the child with his face buried in the mattress. I hardly doubt that. She's evil. Louisville, Kentucky. One of the two women charged in the death of 5-year-old Cairo Jordan appeared in Southern Indiana courtroom on Monday, pleading not guilty to her numerous charges. It's been 7 months since the young boy was found dead inside a Las Vegas suitcase that was dumped in a wooded area of rural Southern Indiana. For the first time, Dawn Coleman appeared before a judge in an orange jumpsuit. When the judge began to read off her charges and the potential sentence she faces if convicted, Coleman began to cry. She's been charged with neglect of a child resulting in death, 30 to 40 years, altering documents so they can't be used against as, okay, hold on. Altering documents so they can't be used as evidence, a misdemeanor. And her last charge, aiding in murder, comes with a 45 to 65 years behind bars. See that, Indiana? Aiding in murder, just in case anyone picks up what I'm throwing down there. Police affidavit explains why Coleman has now been charged with aiding in murder. It states Coleman told police that in April she walked into a bedroom to find Cairo's mother. I'm not going to say this right. Dewan. That's what we're going to go with. I don't know how to spell. I don't know how to say that. I meant to look it up, but I totally spaced it. If anyone knows how to pronounce, like put it in the chat, that would be helpful. Anderson on top of the child with his face in the mattress. Quote, it was already done, Coleman allegedly told police, adding there were trash bags already in the room and she helped put Cairo's body inside the suitcase. Police arrested Coleman about a month ago in San Francisco. She was extradited back to Indiana and booked into the Washington County Jail early Sunday morning. Indiana State Police Sergeant Carrie Holes said seeing her on Indiana soil brings a little bit of closure, but police asked everyone to keep Cairo's family in their prayers. Quote, it is emotional, he said. This is a case that everybody is watching and everybody has a stake in. If you have someone you care about in your life, it is easy to understand why this is so emotional. While Coleman has entered a plea of not guilty, the judge ultimately set her bond at $5 million. Her trial is scheduled to begin on May 2nd of 2023. That is literally coming right up. Police discovered Coleman and Anderson were involved in the 5-year-old's death after a forensic evidence team found fingerprints on 2 of the trash bags wrapped around his body. A second set of fingerprints matched Coleman's. While Coleman was in court Monday, Anderson is still on the run and could be anywhere in the country. Hull said he's confident police will find and arrest her soon, but wouldn't offer more information on the case. Anderson is described as being 5'5" tall and 135 pounds. She has short, dark brown hair in her last known photo, but she is known to often wear wigs or hair extensions. Anyone who sees Anderson or knows of her whereabouts at this time is asked to contact their local police department with that information. So what they're asking you to do is, like, wherever you live, say she's in, San Francisco, like, then you would call that police department. These are some mug shots of her. If you guys can see those, just to make sure we keep her face out there. She needs to be held accountable for what she did to her son. And oh my gosh, come on. Yeah, there she is. And there she is. So these two decided that this little boy was a demon. Yeah. And that they were witches. I think I have Dawn Coleman's Instagram. Oh my gosh. Like it's just like, I don't know. And there's lots of like weird things. I covered the case a long time ago, so I have linked that in the description. I don't want to get into all of the details of it, but basically these two met and she does kind of like, I don't know, I found some of her videos and they were just kind of really out there. I don't know, like magic with a J. I'm not really sure like what kind of psychic she thinks she is, but when I watch her, it looks completely fake. Like it looks completely fake. But yeah. I had a, yeah. This might say some of the, so basically they were trying to do an exorcism on this little boy, and it was basically like just a torturous death, you know, just awful, like that a parent could think these things and these delusions and be led. I feel like they're both just as culpable. Like, I don't buy that Dawn walked in the room. I think she's lying through her teeth. They were actively trying to, when you read like the affidavits and the other like details, like they were actively trying to get them. Like this boy was literally like a kind of like the Ballo stuff, like Lori Ballo and that, you know, Daybell. I mean, it's just absolutely crazy. According to police, 5-year-old Cairo Jordan was found inside a suitcase in Washington County. That's not the part I wanted to read. We kind of all know that, but yeah. So he was unidentified for quite a little while, and you know, it's just like so crazy, especially the area where they took him, and it's kind of southern Indiana. And they were just kind of on their way to, I think it was, they were headed to Kentucky or coming from the Kentucky Derby or something like that. Don't quote me on that part, but yeah. So these two just brutally murdered. I don't know. I mean, it's just a really weird case. I was trying to find that part. ISP detective music. Police are not saying how Coleman was involved, but she is not related to the family. Anderson is still believed to be in Echo Park area of Los Angeles, California, but she could be anywhere. Help us locate her for Cairo so that justice can be served for him. Anderson made several Facebook and Twitter posts between December 21st and April 2022, saying she believed her son was a demon who needed to be killed or exorcised. She wrote of hexes and curses, protection spells, and reverse spells, according to court documents. In a January 5th, 2022 post, she wrote, quote, "I am using my blood for this ritual." Like her blood being her child. On February 19th of 2022, she wrote that she had to raise her frequency in order to heal others and her ancestors. She needed to exorcise a very powerful demonic force from within her son. Like my son, quote, end quote. On March 18th, 2022, she posted she couldn't wait to tell this story. She mentioned a book about living with a demonic child and a podcast. She also wrote of avatars that were hiding in plain sight, like AIs, basically zombies. Police say Coleman also wrote a Facebook post on April 8th, 2022, saying just because the avatar is of what we call a child does not mean that it is actually a child. There are beings that are here that are not supposed to be here, that pick avatars to hide behind, to play roles, to steal energy, and to ruin lives. That just sounds like a whole paragraph of forking crazy. She went on to post magic was real and curses were real, warning others against catering to evil beings hiding in plain sight. She went on to post, let's see, she reached out to an Indianapolis priest on Twitter on April 12th of 2022, saying she needed to speak with him urgently because she had survived an attack from her 5-year-old son. I've been able to weaken his powers through our blood, she wrote. I have his real name and he is 100 years old. Need assistance. Court documents provided a timeline of the events leading up to the dumping of Cairo's body. Investigators learned Anderson had previous run-ins with law, including an arrest on child endangerment charge in South Carolina. She led police on a chase in March of 2022, going 92 miles in a 60-mile-per-hour zone with Cairo in the car, according to court documents. Coleman was with them. That chase ended with a Dodge Challenger Anderson was driving, ran out of gas. Neither woman would open the doors of the vehicle after the chase, and the police had to break the driver's side window to get inside. Anderson was arrested, and Coleman and the child were taken to an area hotel. Like, how in the world they thought it was a good idea to, like, send this little boy away with a complete stranger, I don't know. I don't know. So then it goes on that she was caught shoplifting and she punched a security guard in the face and was jailed. While in jail, she called Coleman on two occasions. So again, just a complete stranger to this little boy is now his guardian. Anderson was released on her own recognizance from jail on April 11th of 2022. She never showed up for her May court appearance, and a warrant was issued for her arrest for failure to appear. On April 12th, Anderson tweeted, I have survived the death attacks from my 5-year-old throughout the 5 years he has been alive. I've been able to weaken his powers through our blood. I have his real name, and he is 100 years old. Need assistance. 2 days later, on April 14th, investigators pinged both Anderson and Coleman's cell phones in Washington County, where Cairo's body was later found. Police also obtained surveillance footage of vehicles stopping in the area. On April 15th, Anderson posted on Facebook, "This is a whole demon in a child body. Why you think she need a cigarette? Losing energy, huh? 64 years in a child body, was full of gifts and magic, goal, bright, stronger than many of you because your frequency's not high enough. Start asking spirit to reveal these things to you hiding behind a body." It's so nuts. On April 16th, at 8:16, Riverlink camera captured images of Anderson's car driving south on I-65 over the bridge from Jefferson, Indiana to Louisville, Kentucky, the same day Cairo's body was found. So that's just a little article to remind us at all the wretchedness of these two women and why it's so important that they be found. It's disturbing. I mean, it is just it's bizarre. I don't, I don't get it. But yeah, I wanted to make sure that we keep looking for her. She's somewhere out there. She can't hide forever. And I guarantee you she's got family that knows exactly where she is. There's somebody that knows where she is. And they're letting her get away with the ridiculousness that I just read. Like, this was over a period of time. This wasn't just like a quick smother him in a mattress type deal. These two women were insane and convinced that this little boy was this. I mean, and he's super precious. Like, look at the thumbnail, look at the picture of him. It's so disgusting. And they kill him, because he's a demon. He's not real. He's 100 years old, remember? God. And then they, put his body in a suitcase and wheel him out into the woods and leave him there and then take off. So upsetting. Hey, who's your cold cases? How are you? Ruckus, good to see you. Chaotic, hello. LA, hello. Yeah, it's so forking crazy. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Hey, Professor Pug. Yeah, it's a disturbing one. Hey, Dustin. Oh, good. Yeah, I spent the day working. Ugh. It was not very fun. I hate working on Saturdays and Sundays too. I don't like working on Saturday and Sunday, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Yeah. Oh, you do? Weirdos in our I don't know what a frequency is, and I don't know anything about the stuff they have going on. I did do it was on Get Vocal with CJ. Where I kind of studied some like voodoo in other countries and the practices of other countries and the with involving children. I mean, it was a pretty crazy study that I ended up doing for that. Hey, Chris. Thank you for reminding me about Cairo. And here we go. That's the update. May 2nd, she's got another hearing I think it's in Sellersburg, Indiana. It's in Washington County, so very southern part of Indiana. And that is it for that one. Just please keep circulating those pictures. There's a bunch of links you can share this video. There's a bunch of links in the description that you can share to keep her face out there, because if no one is paying any attention, she's just going to get away with this. And, she could have another child by now and do some of the same crazy ass stuff to a new demon that she may birth. You just never know. Like, this one just really pisses me off. I'm sorry. It makes me in a bad mood. That a parent could can you imagine how they treated this little boy? Just the verbal abuse that he probably had to go through at the hands of these two idiots. It's gross. Yeah, exactly, Pug. Exactly. Hey, Phil, how are you? Hope you're well. Yeah, it's nasty, but that's when you do this, when you cover true crime, it gets like really hard because you just see the worst of humanity, And I try to always find like silver linings. But some days it is really hard to do. It's really hard to do. And I'm trying to keep my mood in check because I've just had like that. Like I said, it just pisses me off like that. People are out there like that and like that they went unchecked at all those different places where there could have been intervention for this little boy. And that moves us into our second. Hey, sweet Caroline. Hey, Cher. Glad you found the chat. Our second story here. Mm-hmm. Come on. I've got to get a new computer. This thing is just, it's so old. Oh. Well, I guess this one was just the article. All right. Well, I'll try to play it, but whatever. Can you hear it? Can you guys hear that? Do ya? I don't know. I don't do well with the marijuana family. Yeah, exactly, Ruckus. Exactly. And just why can't it's just such a paradigm of just a horribleness. Um okay, but I know, but did you hear it at all? Can you hear it? Just want to make sure you can hear it. No, you can't? Of course. I don't even know which one of these tons of tabs I got open it was. There it is. Apparently not. Where in the heck? Okay. Can you hear it now?
So chances are if
numerous law bought a rural area in Morgan County earlier.
You can hear it? Okay. Cool. Yeah. Like, this is in. So, Morgan County is just a little bit south of Indianapolis. Um, it's got Mooresville, Martinsville. It's I don't know. I lived there. I lived in Mooresville for about 5 years. It was pretty quiet when I lived there. It's not. They're not very. It's not a county of very big towns, but yeah, definitely this forest that they're talking about is really big, and a lot of it like is very rugged. Like there's some trails like if you want to go hiking, obviously you can, but yeah, it's pretty so that's the thing is like so IMPD is Indianapolis Metro like Politan, well, it says it right there, Police Department. And so that's Marion County. That is in like Indianapolis is obviously the capital of Indiana, but it is the city. It's like the only city that we really have. I guess maybe there's could be a few like other ones that are considered cities, but yeah, and so the fact that IMPD has the case makes me feel like it's going to be connected to a missing child in Indianapolis. And it seems like they were directed to this place in Morgan County, because there's nothing that I've seen that says, like mushroom hunters found the remains or the remains were found. And then like, it's like IMPD came in first.
Revealing
Sure that she said in the very beginning, oh, it's probably not going to let me play it again. Didn't she say toddler? No, thank you. Nope. She did. She said toddler. But I always hold out hope, and any time that I can bring attention to Nakota Kelly, I try to. And I know that Justice Served Daily has been covering the Oaklee Snow case, so I've linked her in one of her shows, but I know there's more than that one, so just look through her playlist there. But here's a story about this precious little girl. It's just such a sad, horrible. Like, close. Just close, please. Okay. Oh, here we go. IMPD investigating child's remains found in Morgan County. IMPD investigating child's remains found in Morgan County. Is it missing baby Oaklee Snow? Update. The body of missing toddler Oaklee Snow may have been found, according to local media outlets, after Indianapolis investigators say the remains of a child were discovered in Morgan County, about 27 miles south of Indianapolis. As of Friday evening, the remains have not been positively identified as those belonging to Snow. We can confirm IMPD detectives located the remains of a child in Morgan County, Indiana, said Lieutenant Shane Foley with the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department in a message to Indy Star. IMPD is the leading investigating agency. Foley said what led detectives to find the child's remains are not being released at this time. The Indiana State Police, the Morgan County Sheriff's Office, and the Morgan County Coroner's Office are assisting with the death investigation, Foley stated. The Morgan County Coroner's Office will be responsible for identifying the deceased. Once the deceased is identified, the Morgan County Coroner's Office will notify IMPD, and IMPD will release the identification of the deceased. I'm going to check Broadcastify. Oaklee Snow 2 was last seen at a house south of downtown Indianapolis. So again, south of downtown. So downtown, Indianapolis is a pretty big circumference, but if you're at this, downtown in the center, and then if you're south of that, you're already closer to like Morgan County. Indianapolis after being taken by her mother, Madison Marshall, in January. Snow has blonde hair, blue eyes, and weighs about 35 pounds. Her mother has been arrested, but Oaklee remains missing. Sheesh. Anyone with information is asked to contact the IMPD Missing Persons Unit at 317-327-6160. Or call Crime Stoppers of Central Indiana at 317-262-8477. Sorry. When I get tired, it's hard to read numbers for me. The District Court of Oaklee County, Oklahoma, filed for a warrant of arrest for Rowan Waters on charges of child abuse. Police there allege that Rowan Waters, the mother's boyfriend, struck Oaklee Snow in the face, causing her to have trauma to her mouth and lips. You evil witch. Wow. June 19th, Oaklee Snow's father reports that the 2-year-old and her 7-month-old brother, Colton, were taken by their mother, Madison Marshall, from his home in Cromwell, Oklahoma. He told the Seminole County Sheriff's Office that Marshall and Waters took the children without authorization and likely fled to Indiana, where Waters has family. After learning of the abduction, the Oaklee County Sheriff's Office entered the children into the National Crime Information Center database as missing. In late January, early February, Waters, Marshall, Oaklee, and Colton arrive in Indianapolis. Waters' mother allows them to stay in a home she owns on Albany Street near the intersection of East Troy and Madison Avenue south of downtown Indianapolis. She brought them baby formula and supplies to assist with caring for the kids. During this time, Waters' sister visits the home and sees bruising on Oaklee's legs. The sister confronts the couple, who get angry and tell her to leave. February 9th, Waters' mother gets a call from Chad telling her that Waters and Marshall left Colton alone with him and asking her to get the baby. She arrives and then calls Waters' sister to care for the child. When asked why they left the baby alone, Waters tells his sister it's okay because Oaklee hurt her head bouncing on a ball and needed emergency care. The sister saw Waters and Marshall return to the house as she was leaving. She did not see Oaklee and did not try to speak with the couple. Later that night, the sister reports to the Department of Child Services that Waters and Marshall left Coleman alone at the home because they needed to take Oaklee to the hospital. Witnesses later tell police they saw the couple leaving the house with, quote, what looked like a child wrapped in a blanket, and that the child did not appear to be moving, nor talking, or crying. March 3rd, the Greenwood Village Police Department in Colorado arrest Waters on an outstanding warrant after responding to a complaint about occupants of Best Western Hotel. Investigators learned Marshall was staying at the hotel but was not there when police arrived. There was no signs that children were at the hotel. Waters told investigators Marshall and the two children left Oklahoma in his blue Dodge Durango and traveled to a trap house in Indianapolis to use drugs. Oh, perfect. This gets better and better. Like, why would you take the children? Like, what are you doing? He said they abandoned Colton at the house in Indianapolis before leaving for Colorado. I'm going to read that again, okay? They left Oklahoma in a blue Dodge Durango and traveled to a trap house in Indianapolis for to use drugs. He said they abandoned Colton at the house to use the drug house in Indianapolis before leaving for Colorado. His sister picked up the infant. Thank God for her calling on her own brother, you know? Like, she's the one, isn't that what I just read up here? Like, the sister called DCS, like, and reported this crazy ass shit. Waters told investigators he was unable or unwilling to tell police Oaklee's location. During jail calls to his mother, Waters said he helped Marshall with dropping Oaklee off somewhere, but did not provide specific details. Marshall showed up at the home of Waters' sister asking to stay. The sister said she could, but only if Marshall told her where Oaklee could be found. I love this sister. This is a good person right here. Nobody better be giving her shit on Facebook groups. Marshall left the home on foot instead. The sister hadn't seen or heard from her since. March 6th, at roughly 4:30 p.m., investigators reach out to the Indianapolis FBI office and request assistance finding Oaklee. Colton and Marshall, after confirming Colton's whereabouts with the Department of Child Services, they reached out to the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department Missing Persons Unit for assistance. Colton's father, DCS, told investigators had taken custody of Colton and likely returned to Oklahoma. On March 7th, Indianapolis police served a search warrant at the house on Albany Street in Indianapolis. It's unknown what, if anything, was found during that search. March 8th, shortly after 3 p.m., Indianapolis police posted an alert seeking help from the public finding Oaklee. They report the toddler may be in the Indianapolis area. March 16th. Oh, sorry. A warrant is issued out of Marion County, Indiana for Marshall's arrest on neglect of a dependent charges. March 23rd, Marshall is arrested in Hardin, North Carolina after the sheriff's office received an anonymous tip. Oaklee's whereabouts remain unknown. On April 20th at about 4:20, Marshall is booked into the Marion County Jail on 2 charges of neglect of a dependent. Yeah, I mean, it's just so, I just don't understand why they took this little girl, why they took these 2 children with them. Like, if you're, like, what was the purpose of that? To only just to take your kids to a trap house and then just like leave one there with a bunch of other drug addicts? Thank God that guy was like, hello, like they just left their baby with me. Like that nothing happened to that baby. They could have sold him, like anything could have happened. It's just insanity. And then obviously they've killed this little girl, this beautiful little girl. They've killed her and they've put her body somewhere. And most likely, Occam's razor is that the body found in Morgan County is that of Oaklee. It's not confirmed. It's not confirmed, but just, like when you see it and you hear about it and knowing that they were south of Indianapolis. But in Indianapolis, we also have Ammar Robertson has never been found. She's 8 months old, though. So would they consider her a child? And that's a hope that I almost added her to the thumbnail and I was like, no, she's a baby, because poor little Ammar was so neglected that she, even though she was 8 months old, there's all kinds of just different markers, that a kid should be at that time in their life, like holding their head up and, sitting, some crawling, goo goo gaga, that kind of thing. Poor little Maya looked like she could barely hold her head up. She was so neglected. Let's just be real. The child was clearly underweight, underfed, like all of the above. She was not put first in anything. Her mother literally told the news, well, I hope they find that baby. So her and Robbie have been charged, but Ammar has not been found. And they, Chaotic, you here? I don't think they've been charged. She told me the other day and I've lost it. Oh, she got a call. But yeah. So, Ammar, that would be a skeletonized remains, but we don't know. It just says remains. And then there's Nakota Kelly. He was 10. I was going to try to find this like a little area in my own video to kind of play for you guys. I'm not sure if it's queued up or not, so give me just a second.
Appreciate you coming on to talk about this. I mean, what a beautiful little boy too. I know his picture is in the thumbnail, but oh my gosh, he was gorgeous.
He had an amazing smile.
He did, and you're just, what do you think? Do you think that
by the way, this is Lainey Sullivan. She has the podcast Stuff for the Little Children. She covered this case first, and this is where I heard about it, even though I'm here in Indiana and she is not. But her podcast is solely centered around children, the children that we have read about all night tonight so far. Nakota Kelly, Ammar Robertson, Cairo Jordan, Oaklee Snow, and Colton. I was on, I jumped on with LA Wilkes and Thin Black Line. You guys got to subscribe. He's doing really cool stuff. It's true crime in the morning. And then like, there's also a lot of just like fun, just kind of different topics, covers lots of different things. Of course, Ruckus, he's so much fun. He jumps on there. And then Kai and her husband, is it Deport Sessions? They are just some really good people. I feel like I found my people. Like, I love them all so much. They're such good people, and they're such good conversations, and like conversations that we need to have, like don't go over there if you're sensitive, but I've learned so much, and I think that's what makes the world go round, And so Kai, myself, and the winch, if you see her in the chat, Mama, she is awesome. And I think a few other people, LA, and I think Mayo was there, maybe. I don't know. Tom popped in, but I will add a link in the description, or I'll add them at the end so that you guys, before I check out, I'll put them in the chat. But yeah, I was on talking with her, and we were discussing some of these cases, and she had found a podcast. I know it says, I think it was something about mystery, but it's basically geared toward, in the same category of child abuse. It's called familicide. And it's just, it's a horrible, and the thing is like where the root of the problem, and like, I feel, this is my personal opinion, that our culture as Americans, where no one is proud of that anymore. Well, I am. I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died who gave that right to me. And there is this shame culture going on for being American, and we're teaching that to our children. But what we're also seeing is just a lack of parental, like, I don't know about you guys, but when my kids were born, I thought I knew what love was. I thought I knew what unconditional love was. No, I didn't have a clue. You ain't gonna love no man, woman, whatever your preference is, as much as you love your child, a partner in life. Like, there is no way. There is conditions to that love, and I believe that is perfectly healthy. If they do A, B, C, or D, I cannot be with them anymore because, they have betrayed trust and respect. And I can't respect myself if I stay. But with a child, I mean, they could literally grow up to be murderers. They could be the worst serial killer the United States has ever seen. They could be terrible people, and I am always going to love them. Like, there is nothing that they could ever do to where I do not love my children's, and I do not continue to fight for my children and their happiness. And it just seems like there's some kind of like something happening, like a shift that's happening. And that's why Lainey's so busy, like but then again, you also have to, like, why is, like, what is the root of the problem? Does it stem from anything? And I think it just, in my opinion, it stems from a lackadaisical attitude about anything like structured. for raising children, anything structured for that. And so you have this whole generation that are now raising children that are entitled brats. They're narcissists, and they were parented that way. They were parented to be catered to their feelings. And so when those parents grow up to become parents, they're even worse than the ones before, because everything, and so we're as farther away we get from that, and then you add in this shame of being American. And I'm sorry I got off on a little rant with that, but it's just like really, it's shocking to me. And that, like, in my child's school, high school, they canceled Patriot Day, Red, White, and Blue Day. You want to know why? Because the kids were getting bullied. My daughter sent me a video of a kid wearing a flag on their back, flags touching the floor. If I'd have done that when I was young, oh my gosh, I wouldn't have been able to sit down for a week. I would have been grounded if I disrespected a flag. Like, but it's dragging the floor, and there's kids stomping on it. Yeah, and there were so many kids getting bullied for participating in Patriots Day, America, where we all live, still the greatest country on the globe. That's just the truth. Like, it's a fact that America, even though there are issues, we still live in the best country in the entire globe. Like, there's nobody better. And, take a trip to Honduras, take a trip to Sierra Leone, take a So what all did everybody hear? Thank you. Amy? Oh my gosh. I don't even. Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess, or what I was talking about was not well received by YouTube. I don't know. I What was the last thing you guys heard? How long have I been black? Just black screen. Did you hear me talk about the schools and the we're teaching children to be embarrassed of being United States citizens? Did you hear any of that? I went on quite a little rant there about that. Hey Ray. Hey Grandma Watches. Hey Cody. About 90 seconds. So you heard some of it, I assume, maybe 60 for like 5 minutes. Okay, we're getting 90 seconds, 5 minutes, 60 seconds. Chicago serial killers, be a good story. A big one, yeah. And I'm also interested in the one that True Crime Web, Steve and Mrs. Steve covered the other day. I got to digging on that. Like I needed another rabbit trail to derail me from what I am supposed to be doing, which is flora. It is so tough for me. The flora and I do not want to mess up saying their names. I have someone that is going to help me to pronounce them properly. But for beautiful girls that lost their life, I've been digging in, and it's so complicated, and I feel like it's one of those forests for the trees of it's all about and I'm not saying that there's not. I think that most of them are pieces of shit that are on the board of Carroll County, that are, like the property owners and the shady business dealings that they have. The fire chief, his son is, the 911 call, just so many factors, but that is irrelevant to there's someone that killed, and if it is an arson, which it has been ruled an arson, then someone murdered 4 beautiful little girls, and they need to be held accountable for that. And who are the likely suspects that could be? And why are they? Some of them I would not name because they don't have like criminal histories, which that's very few and far between. But there are multiple people that nobody's talking about, and I don't get it. I don't get it. So, I don't think it's involved with the Delphi case. I don't think it's involved, with anything else. I do question the Kreider, who was found. I think that fire was set in 2017, and he was found maybe in 2018. But it was another flora fire. I like to know how they cleared him, but yeah. So, yeah, the Delphi case, Dustin, like, I just don't think it has, like, that's why I did that episode the other day of why isn't he enough? I'm just like, it's just so, the sensationalism is what I'm getting sick of, and the people out there that blame the families. It's just beyond annoying. Okay, so let me try this again. Hopefully I am not. This is about Nakota Kelly. He literally, this little boy told his mother, she had to tell him. She tried, she literally, to the point where she wasn't sending him because he was coming home so bruised. The school was involved. They're talking to DCS. She's talking to them. She goes before a judge, and the judge tells her, if you don't send him to his illegal alien of a father that literally got out of federal prison and still was able to have more rights than anyone, of course, and demanded to see his son, that he didn't want nothing to do with him. I mean, she has it all in letters that he wrote her, like he did not want her to have Nakota. But he is a controlling bastard, and he basically, you know, it's all out of spite. Like everything that he did, he wanted to control her. And when he couldn't, and she started standing up to him, he was abusive to him. Nakota told them he advocated for himself, and the judge told her, if you don't send him, I'm not only going to take him away from you and give him to his father, but I'm going to take your daughter away from you and she'll be in foster care. And so here, you know, here Haley is with, oh my God. Okay. So I send him for a weekend and hope that he survives, or the judge and DCS don't do anything, and my son goes to live with this monster. Let alone my daughter is now in foster care. So she had to tell her little boy that he had to go to his dad. And he looked at her and he said, oh no, Mom, if I have to go, he's going to kill me. I'm misquoting that a little bit, but that was the gist of what this little boy said to his mom. If I go, Dad's mad at me because I hung up on him because he was yelling at me, and he's going to kill me. And you know, she immediately made a report. Of course, they did nothing, and she's suing them, by the way. And she sends her precious, beautiful little boy to his evil father, and he kills him in a brutal way. And this little boy was dismembered. He made trips to Lowe's just down the road. I have it all mapped out. And he bought all the items to dismember this little boy's body. And when I talked to one of the first officers on the scene, he bought black trash bags, and there were 3 bags missing from the new roll that they also had a receipt for. So it is their, you know, guess that he put him into at least 3 parts. And to make matters worse, he didn't do anything to cover up his crime. He called people to tell them about what he did to his little boy. There was brain matter found on the floor, for Pete's sakes. Like, he is a lunatic monster. And he got in his car and he started driving. This is why, you know, because of the route that he took, I thought that it could be a possibility that some of Nakota could be there, because it's right off of 70, the child's remains. And they believe that he deposited his son's body in 3 different locations. One being in Indianapolis, right down from his house. Let me just pull this up, see if it's on my Google. I have a lot on here right now. Okay. Yeah, you see this little cluster. So you got Amaya, Jamie Jo Tate. There's way more. These are just some that I I've covered. So here's where he lived, right here in this apartment complex here. So there is trash cans. He was seen putting things in the trash cans, which they did not recover. The officer that came out and spoke to us when we had found something kind of suspicious, he personally got in every single one of those. They got in every single one, and he was not put into a dumpster. So his first trip, so I got 2 and 3, but where's 1? I don't know, it must have been deleted. So his first trip was, he came through here, he went down here, and he went down to the Lowe's, which is right here. It's Lowe's. And he bought supplies to dismember his child. And then he went back home. And then he made a second trip. Yeah, and he went back to Lowe's to get more supplies. And then his third trip, he went here. You can see where I have it marked out in red. And this area right here is, whoa. It's a bit scary. Me and my cousin went here, just the two of us. It was dumb to do because this is a terrible, terrible area of Indianapolis. And we searched along here all the way down into this area. And my dumbass, I mean, I knew what it was, but like, I was like, I ain't gonna be, they're not gonna, like, there's no, and there wasn't, I was fine. But like, so this is where there's like draining. And so there's this huge water, like, and it might be this one, I don't know, but I climbed down all of these rocks, and I got to obviously right in here, and there was something over here that just really bothered me. I wanted to go out there, but my cousin was freaking out that these pipes were going to open and I'm going to be dead because of flooding. But yeah.
Ma'am, you're not sharing your screen.
Oh my God. What?
Okay, bye.
I'm so annoyed at myself. I need a manager, you guys. Like, I literally need a manager. I'm sorry. I need a manager. Share this real quick. Did all this. Ugh. Help. Yeah, it is a good thing. Lord, help me. Well, at least you heard all about it, but I'll share it. So hopefully you can see it now. But this is where me and my cousin, I climbed down all of this, and you can't really see it, but basically, like, if they had opened up that waterway there, I would have been probably dead because the rocks are so jagged. But there was something right here, right out in here, and it was like it had color to it. Like, it wasn't like a rock. Like, I want to go back and look at that. But we searched basically around in here, you know, around in this area, along this way, and kind of into the woods right here. But they did say this road So I went ahead and mapped it out because I hadn't, at that time, I noticed that there were receptacles that I thought, well, you know, maybe they missed those, but obviously, you know, I had a cousin that was a manager at Ray's, and I called him to kind of get his feedback on this, and he was telling me like the processes, and you know, just hearing from him of having worked there for a long time was like, you know, it's not hopeful to find his body. But basically, I was saying that his poor excuse for a father lived here, and he traveled up to Lowe's, got some supplies, went back home, left again, traveled back up to Lowe's to get more supplies, traveled home, and then he went to that area over there. Okay. And he also wanted to borrow a suitcase from somebody. So that's another little tidbit. And then he proceeded to, I lost that. I had it mapped on here, but he basically went, through, it's kind of like this. Yeah. Into Missouri, where he was caught. And so it was just kind of like, you know, coming down 70, which, you know, that's why I just kind of wondered, because let's. Yeah. As you can see where Morgan County is. And this is, yeah. So, this, I don't know. I just thought, you know, I really do. It's more than likely. Oh my gosh, I hate this thing. You know, like a yeah. It's pretty sad. I doubt that he went to Morgan County because, you know, he was, I don't know. You know, you just always kind of like, you never know. And with Nakota, I've gotten to know his mother, and she's just a really special human being, and I have so much empathy for her. And the hardest day was he was supposed to appear in court via Zoom, and she was trying to attend. This was, you know, during the shutdown and everything, and she didn't have Wi-Fi. So I was on the phone with her for hours. We're trying to get, you know, and we got the library to, you know, like rent her a router, and she was able to get that home. I helped her get it set up. I don't even know how. Like, Jesus must have took the wheel on that, because I am not good with that stuff. And then we're on the phone before this hearing is to take place, and she's talking to me about her son. And she says, you know, that she's picked out this beautiful baseball shaped casket because he loved baseball. And I had just, in small talk to try to, I was just trying to talk to her to distract her mind. She was very upset and nervous and anxious about seeing him for the first time. And I had just said, wow, that's really cool that, like I didn't know that was a thing, like a baseball casket. That's really cool. And she said, yes, because my son, I know I'm only going to get parts of my son back, and he will be able to fit into a infant casket. When you hear that, it changes who you are. That this mother, this sweet, caring mother that tried so hard to protect her child, her reality is that she knows her son has been dismembered and he was killed in a horrific way, and that this scum of the earth wanted so bad to, he didn't care about getting caught. He did this, he hid this body so well in 3 different states. Okay? Like 3 different states he has put this little boy and refuses to tell. And the court, I'm so pissed at them. They have, this is the 14th rescheduled jury trial at this point. 14 reschedules over the course of, 3 years? 4 years? It's absolutely, yeah, exactly, chaotic. It's absolutely horrific. And they just keep making it even more horrific. I just got a call from her. A lawyer calls her. I mean, the only thing that makes sense to me is that this lawyer was the lawyer for a defendant, and she calls me just like, who do I call? Like, they don't even call her. They don't keep her updated. They treat her like crap. Like, it just ticks me off all the way around. DCS is horrible. Like absolutely just the worst. In this particular case especially. I mean, they failed. They failed this little boy so many times. And he told them. His school tried to tell them. His mother tried to tell him. Her mother tried to tell them. They would not listen. And the thing that really pisses me off is why this illegal alien has more rights than the mother of a child and the child himself. How is that forking possible? Like, he's not even an American citizen. He shouldn't even be here. Want to know what happened? His country didn't want him back. Shocker. And so ISIS, after certain, they just have to let him go. But I'm not kidding. Like, and then he's given all these rights in court. Like, I digress. So yeah, this is what has happened to this child, and for me, that was just a day of like, like you a lot of these cases we're once removed from them. We're talking about them, but we're not involved like with the family. But like I don't do it that way most of the time. And like if I have a family that reaches out to me and I have them on, they're my family for life. And she's just they could make, I mean, there's nothing they can do to fix what has been broken, but they damn sure could do a better job of informing her. And whoever the victims advocates are, you're failures. Like, I don't know what they pay you for, but at this point I've had to do your jobs just to inform her of all the cancellations and hearings that have been rescheduled and jury trials that have rescheduled. And I've had to track down phone numbers that they don't call her back, the lead detective on the case, the prosecutor's office. Like, it's awful. This is a hard one tonight, you guys. But this is an older interview. My hair looks so ridiculous. I don't know why it's parted so far over like that. But anyway, this is with Suffer the Little Children that he did.
A classic sociopath move.
Chilling with the new puppy. It's just my opinion, and you know this case way better than I do. You've talked to the mother, and
so I think that's what he did. Is
he was just a vindictive prick and was spiteful.
I do. I think he was abusive to Haley all the way back. Mm-hmm. It's basically a classic sociopath move where you find someone who's maybe a little vulnerable in one way or the other. So I think that's what he did. Is Haley's, she's a sweet lady, but I think, she might have been vulnerable to his charm, which he was at the beginning. And then she ended up having a child with him, and he turned into a totally different person. He was just controlling, she said, very manipulative. And then, of course, he went to prison for identity theft and all the other, white collar type crimes that he was charged with. I'd have to go look at the list again, but there was a bunch of them.
Yeah.
But that he couldn't get deported because Nigeria wouldn't take him back, which I didn't know was even possible.
I didn't either. I was like telling my husband about it, and he was like, what? I said, yeah, like, I'm just reading this, and I did verify it through another article that they're having to send thousands, because they can only detain them for so long, which, I mean, I get that. Like, we all do have basic human rights, and you can't just indefinitely hold someone when their own country refuses to let them back into their native country. But it's just, the problem that I have is that this man had all of these rights in a United States court, being an illegal immigrant, or just the fact that they don't listen to the child. And I understand, I've seen cases, I don't know if you followed, I couldn't stomach it, but the Sophie fiasco that unfolded on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube.
I did see some of it, yeah, but it started to look like maybe it wasn't as cut and dry as they initially said, so I didn't want to cover it.
Yeah, that child was definitely abused, to like, there's different abuses, but she was exploited by her father.
Right.
And that's what bothered me, is everyone was looking at him like a hero, and I'm looking at him like scum of the earth.
Right. That's kind of where I dropped off.
Do that. You do not do that. You do not act like that. And that's what happens when these kids get caught as pawns in the middle of ugly divorces and spiteful parents. Haley was not that. You can tell. She tried her best to get the system to do their job, and they didn't.
No, they failed that little boy so badly, and no matter what she told them, they kept unsubstantiating DCS, the judge. They just ignored everything she said and said there wasn't enough evidence. But at the point where he says, my dad is going to kill me, whether he was saying it as, it could have been just a turn of phrase, but it sounds now like he really thought that might happen.
My thing is,
and for him to say that.
I heard on when she was speaking with you on your podcast, that her son told them what his dad did.
Right. Yeah.
And they didn't believe him.
When he would, hit him or whatever it was, Nakota would tell the DCS workers, whoever was coming to interview him. But of course, they tend to take the stance that, okay, it's possible that the mom coached him. That's a lot of the problem, is the family court system is so weirdly skewed. They don't listen to the child, but there is a lot of that where the child is coached. We have to find a way to kind of figure out, some kind of forensic interviewing or something. I was helping out a woman in July from Indiana who was in the middle of a custody battle, which I'm most likely never going to get involved in again. But in this case, I really felt she was absolutely telling the truth. She was very afraid of her ex, and her son was abused by him. And the judge was absolutely against her, no matter what she did, no matter what she said. He refused to give her a single bit of leeway. If she had to miss a hearing because she didn't have a lawyer, it didn't matter. He was having the hearing anyway. It was to the point where she thought that the next court date, she was going to lose custody to this abusive man. And she ended up taking her son's life and her own. It was very traumatic, obviously, and it's not the way to go, obviously. I mean, that's going to be, that was her last resort, unfortunately. She would rather do that than subject the child to another several years with that man.
Right. It's such a difficult decision to make. I've had a very close friend that has a very spiteful ex who will take any little step to make her children think that she's not a good mother, that she's, forgetful, it's all her fault. And when you start fighting back against a person like that, the child loses. At least when one parent can be the bigger parent, and I think that's what she tried to do, which drove this bastard crazy. And she finally was like, that pissed me off so bad. She had to make him miss his games on Saturday.
Right.
And that his own dad didn't want him to go to his last baseball game? Like, are you kidding me? What father does that?
Exactly.
All because he was going to be late. It's not like he wasn't coming. He was just going to be a little bit late.
Right.
That tells
it was just a very slightly inconvenient situation for him, because they met halfway, she had told me, because she couldn't drive on the bigger highways.
Yeah.
And that had to be it, is he just didn't want to wait another hour. Yeah, he's definitely at least a narcissist, probably more like a sociopath. He checks all the boxes, basically.
He really does.
And I just can't say it enough, but I really feel like there needs to be more education on the signs of people like that.
Right.
Disordered personalities, in high school even, or middle school.
Right. And depending on the county and the funding to a county, the child, what is it called? The guardian ad litem, and the forensic, mediation, that they're not trained real well. And that's a problem.
A lot of times they're not impartial either. They're
No, they're
they're
not.
easily swayed in one direction or the other depending on
Right.
who makes more money or whatnot.
Right. And she had said that the mediator in their case, that was on your podcast with Haley, that at one point the mediator was like, do you really think he's going to murder his son?
And she said
Really?
yes.
And she said yes. And then what did he do? He was like, okay, here's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
But just put everything in the past. You both agree to put everything that's happened in the past and leave it in the past. And then everything's going to be great from here on out. You know, you're just going to learn to work. Like,
Yeah.
who is that idiot? Let's fire him. What the fuck? God.
Yeah. And if she didn't send him, that was jail for her. She was threatened with going to jail if she just didn't follow the court order, even though her son had just said, my dad's going to kill me.
And I know. Faced with that decision of, okay, do I put assessing the... No, I don't know what would go into searching a landfill.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah, that was just a little bit of my talk with, I'm going to grab her link here too. For Lainey. Now, you can find her on podcast. It's Suffer the Little Children. I am going to link her YouTube, which she has all of her content on there now as well, but it's just podcast form. And I'm telling you, this one is an act of, like, it's hard for me to listen to these, but I feel like in honor of all of these dead children at the hands of their abusive parents, this is one that, you know, it needs, it's hard to listen to, but it's necessary because something's gotta give, you know? And I'll have to send a message to Kai to get the link for that other one, but I think they're live right now too. So I'll try to get that from her, and then for the other one that is solely covering these as well. But yeah, and if you are a mod and you can drop links, please do. You know, I want to support people in the community and the people that have been supporting me. So definitely Chaotic Beauty. I saw hers was Enlightening the Way. You know, Who's Your Cold Cases. You know, Kaleidoscope of Crime, Lighting the Way Home for the Vanished, does such a good job. And you know, just supporting each other. Crime Gear, I think you're a mod, so you can drop your link if you don't mind. I would like you to link yourself, and then who did I just say? Evil CJ, or the Evilville CJ, and if you can find that one, and obviously True Crime Web. He is, you know, one that and this one isn't, of course, like, I'm a member of Sleuth Intuition. Love the dude. Like, it's such a, I think it's such a cool story of, like, you know, like, there are people that, like, we started off, like, our relationship started off, like, super rough, you know, like, but love the dude now. Like, I really, and he's come so far. We both have, like, you know, it's hard. Butterfly Kisses, if you want to drop, you know, her link, that would be great. I don't think it's Butterfly Kisses though, so maybe Lighting the Way Home has it. But yeah, like, you know, these cases are hard on the heart. Like, they're just, it just makes you, hey, Diamond Eyes, glad to see you here. You know, they're just hard. I've been on CJ's, so you can find CJ's links in my community tab. I was just on his show last week, but yeah. And then True Crime Recliner, I like hanging out with him. Yeah, and there, like obviously I like Thomas Frost and Sleuth and things but they're more in the Delphi and like Flora. So if you cover those, find them. Been talking a little bit with Thomas behind the scenes, and he just seems like a really cool dude, just like a really good dude. So yeah, but definitely LA. He's one that I really want you guys to support, and I think that what he covers is, in his perspective as a cop, is important for our community to help him out. Like he doesn't really like doing the true crime, and I think it brings up a lot of I think it brings up a lot of emotional things for him, and so but he's doing it, and I want him to keep doing it, but I don't want him to do it if he just like can't and he hates it. But I think what he brings is really important. And he is just like, he is blunt. Like he's blunt. And I know I tend to be too. So I think that's why I've really enjoyed doing lives with him. I'm on some of the ones. If you join his channel, I've been on there several different times. Yeah, you'll get to see the ridiculousness that I walked myself into and the things I said. But if anybody knows me, it's chaotic. Like She Knows and Crimezilla and Lake Michigan and Who's Your Cold Cases and Aspen, like Aspen Connor, and Deb, like our group, like they know that like it's not really a surprise that I would just say whatever comes out of my mouth. I do it on Chaotically Cold all the time, and they and they just roll. I know a lot of you. I see Ray in here. He's been there. I mean, I just those are fun. Those are like a release so that I can continue to do this. And so I really appreciate everybody being here tonight and hanging with me for these horrific stories. And, check the description. Please consider supporting and joining the groups and sharing, especially sharing that a-hole of a mother everywhere so that we can find her. But I appreciate everybody that's here. Butterfly Like This is chaotic. I see Crime Geeks here. Diamond Eyes. I love marbles. Lighting the Way. You guys have all been here. Really, a lot of you from the beginning of my channel, and I appreciate you so much. Kaleidoscope, I appreciate you. I know that you've been here for a while. Chris is awesome. Please check out his group, Cold Cases. He does a really good job, and he helps me a lot, and he sends me things, and he's just a really good guy for our community. And I'm grabbing the link to his Facebook that he started. Right now. This is Cold Cases. This Facebook link right here. But yeah. So just wanted to see, and I did see a super chat come in. Thank you for whoever sent that. I missed it because I was not on the screen, but I think I saw one come in, and I do. I really appreciate that. If you can, the Cash App is pinned. It does help. Like, you come to a point where it's like, I can't continue doing this. I can't continue taking so much time away from my family. These cases that I cover, I am anal, and I try to do them to the best, like, with the most information that is factual, and not just, flying off the cuff and saying whatever the fork I want. And trying to do them respectfully. And it takes a lot of work. Just today, like, I thought, "Oh, I'm just going to jump on here." Making a thumbnail took me an hour. Grabbing all the links and making sure I had things in order. Like, it just takes up time, and I have to be able to justify the time away from my family. And, if I were to, turn down other jobs and projects, like, I want to be more, on my channel, but it is just, I don't have time. And, so they are appreciated. Obviously, if you cannot afford them, do not send them. And we still do, I think the next donation for, what month is it? It would be May, would be to Haley. She's gone through a lot, personally, this in the last couple months, and I would like to give her a half of what I make after YouTube takes the 30% out. So Cash App, they don't take anything out. So if you can, Cash App would be great. Thank you for all being here. I saw Mayo. Hey, Mayo. Thank you so much for stopping by. That dude's so smart, and I want to work with him a little bit, and I think he can really bring... He's a very analytical, intelligent man, and I like the perspective that he brings. He's very grounding. Does that make sense? Like a grounding, logical... and he's highly intelligent and diligent. So, and then, it just makes a good combination because he's good friends with LA. So, yeah, so that's where we're at. I'm still, like, yeah, Crime Con. But yeah, like, just, hi, Grandma Watches. I'm not ignoring you. About how to support you because I'm Canadian. I run into snags. I think YouTube erased it. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I think that maybe the Cash App. I do have Facebook Pay, but I don't know. What did you say, Grandma? Hey, Cleo. How are you? Yeah, okay. There she is. Hey, I'm ready. Tell her I'm ready. I could use a drink after covering those horrific cases that we just covered. So whenever you're ready, you let me know. Yeah, I'm sitting here ready. So whenever. But yeah, thank you all so much for being here. You're great. Thank you for your support over the last couple years. It means a lot. And just keep doing what you're doing and trying to spread truth and not sensationalism, All right. Have a good one. Oh, you're free in a bit. All right. Cool. Hit me up. Bye, everybody.